I think there's a lot of fake people on it, and I can't stand that. So when people post videos of them crying, I used to just sit there and be like, I hate you. Like, you're trash. Like, don't do that. But when I record, I just felt like God was telling me to record it because it was just a raw moment of me being very just hurt and hurting at that moment and at that time. Just recorded, and I just put words over it, just kind of explaining what was going on. And then I even put in there, I think, like, I hate when people post videos about, of them crying and, well, first let me take a video of me crying and it'll go viral. Like, no. The point was and still is to just show that it's okay to be hurt and to be vulnerable about it, and to encourage other people to say, okay, he did it, maybe I can do it too. This is the Veritable Veteran podcast, bringing truth and exposure to the struggles veterans and their families face post-military. Depression, anger, PTSD, suicide. Who am I? What do I do now? Hey guys, welcome back to the Veritable Veteran podcast. Lydia's here again. So we're going to share a little bit about what happened, not last weekend, but the weekend before when we were in New Hampshire.
It's all good things.
Yeah.
All good things.
So we went during the government shutdown. So that was a bit of a concern. We didn't know if we were going to make it or if our flight was going to get canceled or what. So we had zero issues on the way there.
Yeah.
The way there was really...
That was actually really shocking. We didn't have zero issues. So we had 2 flights. We had our first, we flew American Airlines, and our first flight, it was good. I mean, there was not really any problems. And then our second flight, it was like one of the really small planes. Yeah. Small planes, looked like it had been built in like the 40s.
Probably.
Like, these seats were so narrow. And like, I know I've got some hips on me, but I'm like, okay. This seatbelt, no, honestly though, I feel like my seatbelt, it looked like it had been like cut. Like,
well,
maybe
it's like they had a little kid seatbelt on this seat. So it's like,
and it was literally like just like an inch, like less than an inch from like being able to like close.
Well, and we didn't get to choose seats.
Oh,
so we had to take the last seats available, which were the last 2 seats, like all the way in the back, right next to the bathroom, 2 aisle seats. And there's only 2 seats on each side because it was a smaller plane.
Like on either side of the aisle.
It was. And
so we had the seats on either side of the aisle. And like, then the pilot tells the what do you call the
flight attendant?
The attendant. He's like flight attendants, please take your seat. So she comes all the way to the back and pulls down this seat. This seat just like appears out of nowhere, right between us.
Yeah,
right between us, and it was cozy.
Yeah,
she we're literally, I could have laid my head on her shoulder. Like, that's how close she was. And just her seat got pulled down.
I mean, it wasn't really an issue.
It wasn't an issue. It was just like, wow, this is cozy.
Just the small flight. It was an American Airlines flight. And American Airlines is whatever. I mean, we flew Southwest on the way home and it was way better.
Yeah. But I mean, that was the only issue that we had though. I mean, everything was on time. And as far as the trip there, and I mean, everything went smoothly. We got our rental car and went to the hotel. The hotel was really nice.
Yeah,
I was really impressed. Anyway, so we get to the hotel. So on our way to the hotel, we stop at this coffee shop. And as soon as we get out of our rental car, All of a sudden, we hear like a gunshot. It sounded like a gunshot.
Yeah,
I don't
thought
know.
it was.
I don't know. And we both were like, "Welcome to New Hampshire."
Yeah. Manchester, New Hampshire.
No, I don't know what that was. Maybe somebody's tire blew or
I don't know.
something. I don't know. But I will say, like, the one thing that I just loved was just seeing all the leaves, like
Mhm.
actual fall. Because we when we got there, it was cool. It wasn't like super cold, but it was cooler, and we're in Oklahoma. So we've been still dealing with
Yeah.
summer
Yeah.
weather.
It was warm for
Yay.
New Hampshire, but it was nice. It was really
Yeah.
nice. So
Yeah.
we got to the hotel and then we rested for a little bit and then we went to the meet and greet at the Anheuser-Busch in Merrimack
Yeah.
and we got to meet the Veteran Resource Alliance board members. They were there. Um and we got to meet in person for the first time. We got to meet Aaron and Ray and Scott. And then we got to meet their families.
And that was so cool.
Yeah.
Like, that was fun because, we had spoken via video,
Mhm.
but just getting to see them in person was,
Yeah.
I mean, that was a lot of fun. And just one thing that, like, just really struck me was just everybody was so welcoming.
Yeah.
Like, just so nice. And we got like a New Hampshire gift
Yeah.
bag, and it had like all these New Hampshire goodies, and
Everything was maple
love
sugar
loved
or
it.
maple syrup.
Yeah, maple syrup. There was like, yeah, it was really good. And
Maple syrup, cotton candy, maple syrup, fudge.
yeah, maple
There
syrup,
was mints and
like
all kinds of
sugar,
stuff.
and
So yeah, we got the gift bag and then we got to so it was interesting. They were handing out tokens
yeah,
for drinks and it was like they kept, asking me like, "What do you want to get a drink?" I'm like, "No."
yeah.
And then there's other
Well,
people
and
showed up and they're like,
yeah.
"Hey, I got a token, can I?" was, "No."
Well, and if his journey, he's been posting about his sobriety journey and everything, and so, um, which, I mean, he didn't get offended when people
No.
people offered it to him,
Nope.
and
But
honestly, I don't think anybody was offended that you didn't take
no.
the token. They were just offering it. It's like, no,
Nope.
no thanks. And uh, I think my favorite part about that night was when um the other Aaron.
Mhm. Yeah. That was Aaron and
there
then
was there
another
was
guy.
a there was another Aaron who recognized him just from social media, and I feel like that was like your
Mhm.
first time encountering like someone just being really excited
Yeah.
about recognizing you and seeing you in person. And that was just neat. And then other people started recognizing you,
Mhm.
because then you had other people come up.
Yeah, there
And
was a couple.
yeah, we met this really really neat couple who, the wife was from Australia.
Well, so with that, I had posted on Facebook and Instagram that we were gonna be there in Merrimack, New Hampshire,
Yeah.
and he had responded and was like, "Hey, where are you gonna be at?" And I responded, "Oh, we're gonna be at the Anheuser-Busch, from I think it was 5 to 10 or so 5 to 9 or whatever." And he was like, "Oh, I didn't think you were actually gonna respond." And I was like, "I mean, yeah."
Yeah.
So he ended up coming out with his wife, and we hung out and talked quite a bit.
Yeah.
That was really
That
neat.
was
Yeah.
really neat. That was really cool, just like hearing their story, and how they met in Australia,
Yeah.
and because he was stationed there,
Yep.
and they got married, that was a really cool just interaction. And we got to meet, oh my word, what's his name?
Which one?
He had the baby.
Oh, Tyler.
Tyler
Yeah.
from
There's Tyler Hebert from Hebert Family Fitness. He was on the
yeah,
podcast, and he actually lives in where does he live? I can't remember where, but in that area.
yeah,
And he came up and he had his baby. They had just had a baby about
yeah.
a month ago, so they had a little month old Samwise. And then, so we got to meet him, and then
Yeah, that was really cool because I didn't even know he was in the area or
yeah,
that we were gonna get to meet him this weekend.
yep.
Did you know you were gonna meet him this weekend?
I had told him that we were gonna be there a while
Oh,
ago, and he had said he was gonna try to come up, and then,
I don't know why I'm saying this weekend. That
yeah,
weekend.
that weekend. But
That weekend.
yeah, it was now he knew we were coming, but I didn't know if he was gonna be able to make it, but
Yeah,
he did. So,
yeah,
and there was some other people that they they messaged and said, I'll be there tomorrow, or,
yeah.
I'm gonna try to get up there tomorrow, and it was neat that there's a lot of people that
Wanted
wanted
to
to come
meet.
see us
Yeah.
and just meet us in person, so that was neat.
That was really neat. And like, what was funny is you and I had just intended to kind of pop in and make an
Yeah,
appearance and then leave, and then because we were so tired.
yeah,
We were so tired because we had gotten up to leave for the flight.
yep,
We were up at like what
yeah.
1 o'clock in the
We
morning.
got up at 1 o'clock and we left by 2, and then we drove to the airport and got there by about 3:40,
Yeah,
and then had to get through because the flight left at, like, 5:30,
5.
so
Yeah, 5:30 something.
we we had been up, a long time.
Yeah,
So we
had
had been
been
up and
yeah,
driving and time change and, all this other stuff. So we were just like, "Yeah, let's just go. We'll show up for a minute, a couple minutes, whatever. We'll say
right.
hi." And then it was like we met some people, and then we started talking. Then we started talking to some other people, and then this couple showed up, and then Tyler showed up, and it was like,
Yeah,
but before we knew it, it was 9
it
o'clock,
was 9 o'clock.
and they were shutting it down, and it
Yeah,
was like, "Oh, I guess we're done." So,
yeah,
and
and
then the next morning, we had to be over there pretty early
yep.
for the festival. So it
We
was
may
a
or may not have slept through our alarms a little
yeah,
bit the next
it
morning.
was a it was a whirlwind.
I just like that night I was so tired that I remember we stopped. We didn't get any we hadn't gotten so we came to the hotel from the airport and then immediately took a nap because we were so tired, and then left to go to the meet and greet, and then we stopped at Chipotle on the way home or on the way
Yeah,
back to the hotel. And I was so tired. I ate like not even half of my Chipotle, and I was like, I can't even. I was falling asleep
yeah,
eating. I was falling asleep eating, and I
yep,
was like, okay, this is go to bed.
yep.
And but yeah, then we woke up early the next morning, and then went to the
Vet
like the
Fest,
vet
the official
fest,
vet
like the official
festival.
vet
Yeah.
fest,
So
and
they
that was
had
cool.
so in it was at the Anheuser-Busch grounds again in Merrimack, and they had it all set up. There's always tents and booths, and so it wasn't like a traditional like
Like
yeah, it
festival.
wasn't like they
Yeah,
had a bunch of vendors selling stuff. What this
right.
was a place for veterans to be able to come and understand what resources were available to
Yeah,
them in that area.
yeah,
And in New Hampshire alone, there's 290 veteran nonprofits. So prior to Ray O'Donnell doing this and putting this together, pretty much everybody was operating on their own and nobody really was coordinating or cross talking with each other.
yeah,
Um, and her goal was like, hey, let's get everyone together, get us all on the same page. That way, if company A or nonprofit A can't help this veteran, what about nonprofit B, C, D, E, and F?
yeah,
And they all can. Okay, so now we just shoot an email out because we've all talked to each other and we're like, hey, can someone help this guy? Perfect example, the night of the gala or gala, whatever, we were there and there was a veteran that said he needed rides to and from Boston for VA mental health care. And she announced it at the gala where all these, different heads of these nonprofits were. And she was like, does anybody know of a resource for this veteran?
yeah.
And I mean,
Instantly.
yeah, this guy was like, yeah, I can help him. And he
Yeah,
knew, I don't know if it was him or he knew somebody, but they took care of it.
yeah.
He had rides like
It,
immediately,
like, immediately, it
you
was
know.
taken care of.
So
And
it was just a really neat networking opportunity for these different organizations. Some of them are nationwide, some of them are New England wide, some of
yeah,
them are just strictly New Hampshire.
yeah.
But it was a really neat. I think there was 80 that showed up. I think there was like 84 that were supposed to be there, but 80 showed up.
Yeah. Which,
Next
like,
year, I
that's good,
mean,
and
yeah,
they're saying next year, it's already looking to be
yeah,
really big.
yeah,
And what's cool is, like, not every nonprofit, like, not every nonprofit does everything.
Mhm.
Like some of them, there's some that they strictly help with like food,
Yep.
and some that strictly help with, helping people with their rent payments
Yep.
or electric, or some that help with therapy. There was
Yeah.
Aaron's
Yep.
business and his wife. Like Aaron's nonprofit helps with the funding, like,
Yeah.
so if guys can't get adequate therapy through the VA,
Mhm.
then they go to this nonprofit, and this nonprofit, and obviously they're gonna have to pay out of pocket,
Mhm.
and then his nonprofit helps pay,
Helps fund their
like, helps
therapy.
fund
Yeah.
their therapy, and they find and his nonprofit also helps find a therapist that is a good fit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
he stays alongside, at least that was my understanding.
Yeah, I mean, he's very involved in their mental health,
What was
the whole
what's
journey.
the
It's
name of
Labyrinth Mental Health
Labyrinth?
Services.
Yeah,
And it's basically, and a lot of it comes out of his pocket.
yeah,
And he helps fund their mental health, like, and their therapy, whether that's EMDR or psychedelic, or
yeah,
whatever, all that stuff. It just depends on what it is, but a lot of times the insurances won't cover it. So if they can't get this covered through insurance, they'll come to him and he can help fund it. But there's nonprofits that do, I mean, all these things. There's
yeah,
guys that take veterans out on hunting trips
yep,
and fishing trips, and again, all these are very important because unfortunately in the veteran community at large, not necessarily the nonprofit side of it, but at large, there's a lot of competition,
yeah,
especially between uh, influencers and just and veterans in general. That there's a lot of competition. It's just a lot of alpha male personalities,
yeah,
and they, I want to be the best, I want to be the top, I want to be the one that gets X, Y, and Z. It's just there's too much ego.
mhm,
And if they would just lay that down and say, hey, why don't we just work together? You
yeah,
do what you can do, I'll do what I can do. And if we can't help them, we can pull in a third party and be like, hey, can you do this, or can they do that? And that's what the whole thing was about, and it was
yeah.
really neat.
There was even, like, veteran motorcycle groups,
Mhm.
like, and their whole thing is just like, "Hey, we are a group of guys who ride motorcycles, but
Mhm.
we're all veterans."
Yep.
And they have their group name and everything, and then you become a part of their
Yep.
group. Um, there was a guy who came by your booth, and he does, like, swimming
Mhm.
therapy and, like, um, stuff like that,
There's
and
things you wouldn't even think of. That
yeah.
there's a lot of, and we met a guy that he's part of Warriors hockey up in Boston.
Yeah, that was
And
cool.
that's, they've got, it's a hockey team of veterans.
Yeah,
And it's just really what it is just camaraderie.
yeah,
Like getting together and, through the avenue of hockey.
mhm,
There's guys that do golf, there's guys that do frisbee golf, there's got all this stuff. It was a very good display of how many resources are out there.
yeah,
And it's kind of sobering to realize that veterans really don't have a whole lot of an excuse for not connecting with other
yeah,
veterans, because this is just New Hampshire. Okay, New Hampshire is really small
yeah,
and not very highly populated, and they had 290 veteran nonprofits.
and the Vet Fest event, what did they say? Like, how many, over, like, 1,000 people or something came through that
Yeah.
day, and, it came through the event, and it wasn't it was, like I said, it wasn't a traditional festival or anything. It was literally
Mm, yeah.
I
I mean, they had music
that
and they had
yeah,
they had food and they had,
right.
games and things. But again, it's not like there's, like,
Yeah,
a bunch of vendors to go and
right.
shop at.
Yeah.
There's guys were giving things out and stuff, but it was just neat to see that good of a turnout for an event
Yes.
that was just,
Like an information event.
yeah, it was pretty
Like,
more
literally
networking
just
and
networking and
informational. Yeah.
information. Yeah. And I feel like that event we set up a tent. I mean, we we realized we had a lot to learn that weekend. We're like, okay, if we're gonna do another tent, we are definitely gonna need to deck it out a little bit better because all we had was like a tablecloth and uh,
Yep.
business cards.
Yep. So we set up some of the podcasting stuff. We meant to
Yeah,
do recording, but it was just we were so busy
we were
talking with
so busy
people, like it
talking.
it
Yeah,
wasn't feasible. Because I mean, everybody who walked by was like, "Oh, hey, what do you do?" Or I mean, there was some people that recognized me and were like waiting to talk with me, and that they sat and waited, and then they came up and we talked with them for a while, and then the next person would come along and be like, "Oh, hey, I heard you talking with them. What do you do?" So
yeah.
it was just one after another. So we didn't get a chance to record. But it was I had something I was gonna say, and it's gone, but it was really neat to it had to do with with the whole, like, the tent and not having everything perfect.
Yeah.
I'm a perfectionist. I don't like doing things halfway. If I can't do it the whole way right the first time, I'd rather just not do it, and that's not helpful because you're not gonna get it right the first time. Um, so it was a learning experience for me to be able to be like, "Okay, well, it's not a big
To just
deal,"
let it
and
go.
nobody cared.
I know, literally nobody cared. There was, like, nobody who was like, "Oh, like, this booth is looking a little sparse,"
Yeah, I mean
and honest like, people still came up and
yeah,
talked to us, and honestly, I feel like the lack of stuff there made them more curious.
yeah,
They're just like, "So what do you
yeah,
do?"
yep,
But, but my favorite moments were when people recognized you. And there were literally people who were like, "Oh,
yeah.
I know that guy.
Hey,
I know that guy."
one guy walked by and he was, like, walking and he's like and he does, like, a double take and he's, like, looking at me, and I'm just standing there looking he's just staring at me, and I'm, like, looking at him and I'm like, "Hi," because I mean, it was an awkward, like, a
Yeah.
long time. He stood there for a while and he goes, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Um, I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening." And he was like, "Dude, I follow you." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Hi."
"Oh,
And he's
hi."
like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, we had a good laugh about it,
Yeah.
but it was funny, you don't expect to see someone and then you see them and it's like, "The heck?"
Yeah.
But it was humbling, but it was a lot of fun to just see people and, then walk up and be like, "Dude, I follow your stuff. It's awesome."
Yeah.
So,
I know that was encouraging for you too,
yeah.
because it was just, you know, I think sometimes you feel like he feels like he's like, "Man, I feel like I just put up cheesy stuff all the time," you know? But it's interesting because most of the time they mentioned the serious content.
Mhm.
And it was like they would mention, "You make me," one guy was like, I'll just sit in my office and like watch your videos and you just make me laugh and I love it." And um like there was one older, veteran who brought his son who had just gotten out of the Navy, and he was one who was just like geeking out because and got a picture with Evan and everything. And but he was the one who said that he was telling his son, he just sits in his office and he'll just
Yeah.
scroll the page. And um but I feel like the most impactful one was AJ.
Yeah.
um I don't know, I can let you share
Well,
that.
we were talking for a while with a guy that he had come up. He heard that we were going to be there. He brought his family up, and we talked with him for quite a while. And then as he left, there was a gentleman just kind of standing off to the side, and he was just waiting. And the other couple and their family left, and he walked over and he just kind of stood there, and he's like reached his hand out to shake my hand, and he was like, you could tell he was trying to
He was fighting
he was
back
fighting
tears.
back tears,
He
but he
was
was
fighting
trying
back
to
tears.
yeah, he was trying to talk, and he basically just said, "I wouldn't be here." That was, like, the first thing he said. He's like,
He
I
said, "You saved my life."
yeah, yeah." He's
And
like,
the first thing that he said was, "You saved my life."
yeah,
And then he continued, he was just like, "I wouldn't be here." Um, and he gave us permission to share his story. So
yep,
don't feel like we're sharing like too personal stuff. But and then Evan immediately embraced him and they hugged for a long time. And
People need hugs.
Yeah.
Give hugs.
And AJ, was crying, and this man is probably what, in his 50s,
Hmm.
I would say, like in his
Probably.
50s. And he was telling
If you're
us
younger than that, AJ, I'm sorry, but
well, he has like adult
yeah,
children,
I know.
like so, and I think he said he has grandkids, didn't he?
I don't know.
Um but um he was telling us about how he was really struggling for a
Hmm.
while, and he had perfectly planned out exactly how he was going to let go from this world.
Yeah,
Um and he said he had been planning it for months, had planned exactly how he was going to do it and all of this stuff, and um had it all set up like in the woods, and he almost made it sound like he was going to make it look like an accident. And
I don't know.
um because I know he said something about like his hunting,
He said something about how it would not affect
it would not
his
affect
his
his
family
family.
negatively, other than
Right.
you know the obvious. But he basically had talked about how he had it planned out perfectly, and then he said that he had seen a video that I had posted of me sitting in the woods, and I remember that video, and I remember making it, and I remember debating whether or not I was even going to post it because it in the video I just put the camera down and I hit record, and I just went and I sat on this log, and I had my head in my hands, and this was I don't remember exactly when. I'm pretty sure I was on admin leave again,
And if you
and
don't know what he's talking about, reference a couple episodes back.
yeah, I was on admin leave from the police department, and was just going through a lot mentally, and I
Yeah.
was also going through, just my sobriety journey, and just all this was kinda coming to a head, and I was out in the woods burning brush. I was clearing out the woods behind our house, and I I have a love-hate relationship with social media. I think there's a lot of fake people on it, and I can't stand that. So when people post videos of them crying, I used to just sit there and be like, "I hate you. Like, you're trash. Like, don't do that." But when I record I just felt like God was telling me to record it because it was just a raw moment
Yeah.
of me being very just hurt and
Yeah.
hurting at that moment and that at that time. And I just recorded and I just put words over it, just kind of explaining what was going on. And then I even put in there, I think, like I hate when people post
Yeah.
videos about them crying and well, first let me take a video of me crying and it'll go viral. Like no, the point was and still is to just show that it's okay to be hurt and to be vulnerable about it and to encourage other people to say, okay, he did it.
Yeah.
Maybe I can do it too.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's the video that he said really impacted him the most. And I almost didn't even post it. So
Well, and I think he said so he had this whole thing planned out, and he sat down on a log to kind of just
I mean,
get himself it just to kind of get himself ready.
yeah,
And he started doom scrolling on social media to kind of get his mind off of things, but like ultimately he was getting himself ready to do what he was planning on doing. And then that's when your video came across his feed. And he said instantly he just broke down and was sobbing. And then he went to your page and he said he just started watching video after video, and he's like, and I found myself he said I found myself going from sobbing to laughing because of the funny stuff. Um and then he said I then, like, what, an hour later after just going video after video, he was like, I looked at I kind of just like came to and was like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? And um, then that's when he decided
mhm,
he was going to get help. And he was wearing, I think,
yep,
that band. Um, and he had gotten this band during his healing journey to remind himself to keep going,
Hmm.
just keep fighting. And he took it off and he handed it to you. And he said, I don't need this anymore because life has never been better. Whew.
It meant a lot to hear that because there's a lot of times that I just wonder who's watching this stuff or who's being impacted by it. And I know that's just Satan trying to stop me from doing what I'm doing. Um, I've talked to enough people now that I know that it is helping people. So when I start to feel that way, and we mentioned it to him, just how I feel like that. Sometimes I'm just not having an impact. And he just looked at me and he said, well, I think my wife would disagree with you, you know, and he said, my kids would disagree with you. And so I think if God's calling you to do something and you're like, well, what difference can I make? You have no idea the level of impact you can have if you just say yes
Yeah.
and you're willing to put yourself out there. Even if that's just going to a group and being willing to open up and talk about what's going on with you, or talking to a friend and say like, "Hey, I noticed this is going on, what's going on with that?" And maybe and honestly, maybe even calling somebody out and being like, "Hey, this isn't okay." It may be uncomfortable in the moment. It may cause some ripples in your life that you feel like at the moment are very negative,
Yeah.
but God's ultimately working it out. And if you're being obedient, it's going to work out for God's glory and in your favor.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, and the healing, like in following that, it's like, you have to remind yourself that you're also healing too in the process. And so there will be ripples just because healing is messy.
yeah,
Like healing from trauma and from all of that, it's just messy. It's not easy. Um and I mean it's like if you have a broken bone, sometimes it has to get rebroken
hmm
to set properly. And um
it usually gets worse before it gets
yeah.
better. And I've said that several times. And it's again like setting a bone. You gotta break it again to set it properly. Or if you're cleaning out a closet, you got to empty the whole closet out and make a huge mess before you can get it all back in there and organized properly. It's the same thing with emotions and just feelings. Sometimes you got to dig it all out and then put it back in the right way. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, and it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of people quit, is when it
Yeah.
starts to
When
get
it starts to get
worse. They're like, well,
worse.
this wasn't worth it at all. This is
Yeah.
stupid. It's like,
Well, I
no.
thought this was supposed to help,
Yeah.
and it's like it is.
Yep.
Honestly, in my opinion, if it doesn't get worse, it's not helping
Yeah.
because it's keeping you comfortable
Yeah.
where you are. And it's like it has to be uncomfortable
Yeah.
to push you forward. But so then there was that event.
Hmm.
So the Vet Fest, and then the next day was the gala
Hmm.
or
Sure.
gala.
Gala.
Yeah. And
So
and that was
we
a
got
lot of fun.
to sleep in that day because we
Yes.
didn't have anything going on that morning.
We
Uh,
got to sleep in.
and then, yeah, so the event was at like 5 in the evening. So we got there. Oh, on the way there,
Oh my
we
word.
were following. There's a little 2-lane road. It's a highway, but it's a 2-lane
And it
highway.
was dark,
It was dark.
you know.
So we're driving behind this car, and they were doing about 50 miles an hour. The speed limit was 55. Everybody in front of us was furious that this dude was going 50 miles an hour. Everybody had gone around him, and I get up
Yeah.
there and it's my turn. I'm driving the little rental car, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, no. I mean, I wasn't in an all fire hurry,
Right.
thankfully.
Yeah.
Because there's nowhere to pass. And I was like, all right, I'll just wait. So
Yeah.
I'm sitting there behind him, and all of a sudden we hear like this boom, and I was like, oh, what? And
And
then
then
I
we
start
see
seeing
like
like
pieces
pieces of plastic.
flying,
I mean, there's
like
like sparks, and I'm so confused. And then I see this black mass just go tumbling off the side of the, into the other lane. And I was like, what the heck was that?
It wasn't a deer.
So it was not a
It
deer.
was not a
I
deer.
thought, being from Oklahoma, I was like, oh, it's a hog. It was
Turns out.
black, looked like a hog. Turns out they don't have hogs in New Hampshire. They have bears. Apparently this person smoked a bear, and
A baby bear.
it was a
But
smaller
it was
bear.
a
It
small
had to have
bear.
been
It had
it
to have been
wasn't
a
a
small
baby. It
bear.
was a juvenile. It was
Yeah.
but it was, yeah. So there was that. And then, I mean, they smacked it hard.
Because like you were just about to pass them. Because
I kept creeping over and
kept
looking, and I was
creeping,
like,
yeah.
not yet. It's still, and there's cars coming, and there's double yellow lines, and there's curves, and I think we were coming up on a bridge, and I was like, oh, I can't right now. And then all of a sudden, just smack.
It sounded like a bomb going off. It was
loud.
It was loud. And then we just see like half the front bumper just goes flying.
Just flying and pieces everywhere.
And I felt so bad because they're pulling off, but we were already late.
We were gonna stop, but thankfully this person, they didn't wreck. They put their flashers on and they pulled over. So they clearly were they were okay.
They were okay. Yeah.
And then so we carried on. We almost got rear-ended by the Jeep behind us.
But that was fun.
They slowed down. Anyway, so we got to the gala. It was set up really well. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I got to meet a bunch more people. We got to dress up. We got to eat some good food.
And you gave your speech.
Yep, I got to give my speech, which unfortunately didn't record very well, so I don't know that I'll be able to use any of the.
I know, that was a bummer. That was partly our fault because we moved the camera. We had the camera by the speakers initially, and then forgetting that about the speakers, we were like, we wanted to get like a better angle, and so we moved it away from the speakers
and the microphone. Yeah,
and
it was
Anyway,
it was good.
Right.
It was just we didn't get
another learning learning curve thing.
So earlier in the day, we were looking at our flights.
Oh yeah,
and our flight had gotten canceled, leaving Manchester to go to wherever. I think it was Reagan on the way home. We were flying from Manchester to Reagan, and then from Reagan to DFW. Flight had gotten canceled and moved, and we weren't supposed to leave until 5 o'clock on Monday. And that wasn't going to work because my parents were watching the kids, and we had to be back before then because we weren't going to get home until after midnight.
Yeah.
And my dad had to work. My mom had to work. It was just going to be hard. So I'm super frustrated. Like, I was really mad because couldn't figure out. Oh no, another thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the flight being canceled. I found out that our return flight was actually returning to a different airport.
Which was significant because his truck was parked at our departing airport.
Yeah. So we departed out of DFW. And in Dallas, there's two airports. There's DFW and there's Love Field. Love Field is smaller. DFW is much larger. We departed from DFW. When I bought the tickets, I assumed when I click round trip, it's going to return me to the same airport. I assumed wrong.
Well, and not only that, we had put DFW.
Yeah.
We had put so
it wasn't like I just chose Dallas.
Right.
I put DFW.
When you enter in the information and you put like that you want a round trip ticket and stuff, they ask for departing city or departing airport.
Yep.
And you put in the airport code. He put in DFW. So the fact that then it had our returning flight to Love Field.
Yep.
Which was mind-blowing because there's no way we didn't depart from Love Field. We had put in DFW. It was a round trip. There was how in the world?
Which we found out later is not uncommon.
Yeah, no, yeah, so, apparently has happened.
Apparently happens all the time. So this happens on Sunday morning, and I'm dealing. I discovered this Sunday morning, and I'm livid. I'm just really mad, and I think I was tired. I'm still.
You were feeling nervous about the
speech. I was nervous
and...
about the speech and everything else, and I'm still like, it was all different.
Yeah.
And when things are new and different, I'm on edge.
Yeah.
And I've discovered through my journey of mindfulness that I suffer more from anxiety than I do depression. I always thought it was depression. It's not. It's more anxiety. And I know that for a fact now. So I was really just anxious about all this, and then all of a sudden this just gets dumped on me, and I was really upset. So we sit down, Lydia sits down and she's like, God has a reason for this. And we need to stop looking at it as a bad thing and start looking at it as, what is God doing and who are we supposed to meet while we're going through this, these changes. There's an opportunity here that we wouldn't have otherwise. So I finally calmed down. We got ready, went to the gala, gave my speech. We hung out until the lights came on. We tore everything down.
They were tearing everything down, and we were still there.
They were kicking us out,
chatting
but we got to, take a lot of pictures with Ray, and we got to meet, her husband Glenn. He was there. He was a ton of fun.
There were so many cool people. Yeah. Like, honestly, that weekend, like, I almost want to cry because, like, we met so many amazing people.
Yeah.
It was just like, I feel like I left a tiny piece of my heart in New Hampshire, like with those people.
Well, and it's interesting because in New Hampshire, and maybe Oklahoma and Texas are weird. My kids went to school on Veterans Day. And I know when I was in school, I went to school on Veterans Day. In New Hampshire, they don't work or go to school on Veterans Day.
Yeah,
it's a
like,
holiday.
It's considered like a holiday, like a state holiday, federal holiday.
Because like they were asked, I said something about my parents having to work on Veterans Day, and they were like, "Why?" I was like, "Because it's Tuesday."
Yeah,
and they're like, "It's Veterans Day." Yeah, and then I said, "Yeah, I don't know why it's not a federal holiday that everybody gets off." And he goes, "Well, we get off." And I was like, "What the heck?
No fair.
No fair." Like their kids didn't have school or anything. So it's just an interesting little tidbit from New Hampshire. I guess I don't know if that's a New England thing or if it's just a New Hampshire thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't work and the kids didn't go to school.
Needless to say, we're jealous.
So, yeah. But yeah, it was a really good weekend.
Yeah.
And then we had to leave really early for the airport. Not as early as we did the first on leaving, but we had to leave early for the airport. And leaving Manchester, we went to the departing gate.
Yeah.
And there was a Dunkin' Donuts, and we got some sandwiches for breakfast. And we're waiting in line for Southwest. Southwest has a unique way of lining up, so there's like two lines. And
that was really confusing because it's changed a lot since I was in college and flew through Southwest.
Southwest was a lot better than American Airlines.
Oh my word, hands down.
It was definitely different. But so anyway, I'm standing there, and this gentleman walks over, and he's like, "Hey, I just wanted you to know that I follow your stuff. Thank you for what you do." Shook my hand and was just we talked for just a minute. And then he went back to his wife, and that was it.
That was it.
And we were flying to Baltimore, which was not where we were originally supposed to fly to. So we get on the plane, and we end up sitting right behind this guy and his wife.
Yeah.
So we, he had asked a couple more questions. We talked a little bit, and his wife was like, "Leave him alone. Like, quit being weird." And he's like, "I'm sorry."
She goes, "Do you want me to give you a pen and paper so you can get his autograph?"
He was just, she was ragging on him hard.
It was funny. He was fine with it. Like she was.
Well, it gets better.
Ragging on him.
We end up in Baltimore. We get off the plane, and he was like, "Hey, have you gotten breakfast? Like, do you want to get some breakfast or coffee together?" And we're like, "Yeah." So we go.
And we had found out we both had like 3-hour layovers.
So they were flying to North Carolina.
North Carolina, yeah.
But I think they were flying to like Norfolk, Virginia or something. Anyway, we have these, the gates we have our gate, they have theirs. We're standing there talking, and then all of a sudden we look at the thing, and it's like, "Oh, hey, your gate's updated. You're now leaving out of C14. Oh, turns out they're leaving out of C13.
Yeah.
So we're like, I guess we can go to the, terminal together. So we walk down, we get our coffee, and we walk down, and we sit down, and we end up having like 2-hour conversation with these people, and they were awesome. It was Keegan and Delaney were their names.
Yeah.
And we got to know them really well. And I got to know Keegan's story a little bit, and I'm hoping to have him on the podcast because it's a really amazing story.
Yeah.
But I mean, Delaney was hilarious. She was razzing him hard, and he was just giving.
Well, they were high school sweethearts, and had been together forever. And but they were hilarious.
Yep.
and just such an awesome couple.
Yeah.
Like, and
They were a lot of
like,
fun.
Delaney kept just saying, she's like, you know, they're gonna think, once we depart, they're gonna be like, oh, glad to be rid of these guys. And I'm like, no, no, honestly, we really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like that was,
Well, I mean, let's be real. Like, part of me, I value my alone time,
yeah,
and I value it too much. And I put a lot of uh effort in not necessarily avoiding people, but avoiding too much people.
yeah,
I had too much people that weekend, and I was like, I need to be alone.
yeah.
So when he started talking to me at first, I was kind of like, okay.
Great. Now Delaney's gonna go, see,
Yeah.
see,
No, and it's okay, because here's
see.
the thing. This is why we ended up going to Baltimore. God wanted us there to be able to talk with them. God was pulling me out of that, saying, you need to talk to these people. Like, I have you here for a reason.
Yeah,
You're here to meet these people. And it wasn't like I sat in that very long, but my initial thought was like, I just want to be alone.
yeah,
And I felt God telling me, not yet. You still have people to talk to. You're still doing the work that I want you to do. It's not time to be alone. You'll have time to be alone. I have time
yeah.
to be alone all the time. I have too much time to be alone sometimes. And
And that's saying a lot considering we have 6 kids.
right. And it's just, yeah, but I put too much stock in that. And I
Yeah.
know that. And that's something that I struggle with, is isolating myself. And that's why I talk about it so much, because I'm talking to me. Um, but it was really, really neat just talking to him, and getting to spend that time with him, and his wife was really just, I don't know, it was just a lot of fun. And
And it made that super long
yeah,
layover
because
go by
honestly,
super
I would
fast.
have sat there on my phone
Yeah,
and scrolled and
yeah.
done nothing. But instead I developed, we made a friend,
Mhm.
and now we're friends. Like, we
Yeah.
talk, and it's
Like
like,
you and, Keegan exchanged
yeah.
numbers, and
And like
Delaney and I are
yeah.
now Facebook friends, and, and
And it's,
it's
we built a
crazy.
relationship
Yeah.
off of some time spent in an airport. And again, I would have probably just sat on my phone and vegetated, because I had talked to people all weekend, and I was like, leave me alone. Don't talk to me. And, you know, thankfully he didn't read my body language that way. So, but, and Delaney, if you're listening, I was not glad that you guys left. So,
Yeah.
um,
No, so 'cause once again, she's gonna be like, "See, see,
I
I
told you.
told you.
Yeah.
I
I
told you
told
they
you.
were annoyed by us." No, we were not annoyed
No.
by you.
And it's good, because I needed it,
Yeah.
and I need to be able to put that aside, and just trust that it, it's not that I'm just selfish, and I needed to be, you know, selfless in that moment,
Yeah.
and just talk with them. And honestly, it was really good for me
Yeah.
in the end. So
Well, and
God
that
blessed me through that. He blessed her through that. He blessed them through that.
yeah.
And it was just a really neat interaction that we wouldn't have had our flight not gotten changed. And had I been, like, oh no, I just want to go sit and stare at the wall, we would have missed out on that.
Yeah. And that was like confirmation too. Confirmation for us of, um, when I encouraged you that like maybe God has someone we're supposed to
Mhm.
meet. And maybe that's why our flight got mixed up.
Yeah.
And it just confirmed that
Yeah. It
for
was
us.
absolutely confirmation, because I was super butthurt that our flight got changed.
Yeah.
And God was like, if you'll shut up and just let me
I've
do
got this
my
really cool
thing,
couple that I
I've
want you to
got
meet.
this worked out for
Yeah.
you. Just, but that's, as we go through life and we have more examples of that to look back on, it gets easier.
Yeah.
But being willing to look at it from that perspective of, okay, so what is the opportunity here?
Yeah.
Like, this got canceled, or I'm gonna be late, or I didn't get out the door on time. And then, there's examples that we have of, not being on the road at a certain time when we wanted to be. And then there was a huge accident,
Yep.
and we missed it,
Yeah.
and we could have been a part of it.
Mhm.
Not saying we would have, but we very easily could have been.
Mhm.
And, and then, our flight gets changed, and we end up meeting this really awesome couple. And, like I've said in our story, I got injured before I could leave for MARSOC training, and met Lydia, and she has her own story about that.
Mhm.
And it's it's about perspective.
Yeah.
It's like we have a lot of negative things are going to happen to us, but it's about how we look at it and how we take it and how we move forward with it and say, okay, it happened. I'm frustrated. It's not the end of the world. We'll get through it. I thought my world was crumbling when I got injured and I couldn't go to MARSOC assessment and selection. Turns out it was the best thing that ever happened because I met Lydia and we got married, 4 months later.
Yep.
You heard that right, by the way. It was
Yeah.
three and a half
I mean,
months.
I thought it was 4.5.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah.
4 months.
Yeah. Yep.
Barely 4 months.
Bear.
But it was 4 months. So yeah, it was just there's a lot of opportunity to be had, but also to be missed, depending on your perspective and how you allow things to affect you, either positively or negatively. And I learned that just on this trip and just being open to what God was saying and talking to the people God was telling us to talk to and being willing to engage in conversation, even when I really didn't have the energy to.
hmm
Um, and it was, it was really positive. It was
Yeah.
always, and it was really good. So,
Well, and I feel like that conversation with them, was energizing
oh yeah.
because then we came home that night and we still had the energy to interact with our kids as soon
Mhm.
as we got home. And now, granted, all of us, including our kids, crashed right away
Oh yeah.
that night. But it was just,
It was one of those nights where there's 3 kids on the couch.
yeah,
There's 2 kids in bed with us. One's just on the floor, face down. The dogs are everywhere. The lights are on.
the
The
garage
garage
door
door's
got left
open.
open.
The
Like
cars are unlocked. The
the
garage
house
lights
was
are on. The
unlocked.
house is, and we're like, whatever.
And we
Just
woke up. I think I woke up at 5 in the morning. I was like, oh my gosh, everything
yeah.
is open and unlocked. And I was like, oh, dear God, we are so lucky.
Yeah.
It's a good thing we don't live in the middle of nowhere, but we kind of live out.
We live in
it-
a little corner
corner where
surrounded
the
by trees,
trees
and
and
we
stuff.
only have
So
2 neighbors that are
old.
they're older and we know them, so it's,
Yeah. But
but
I was like, oh man, that could have been bad.
yeah.
um all our guardian angels
Yeah.
were working that night. But it was such a good weekend. And it just confirmed in our hearts that this is the right path.
Yeah.
And um I hope we get to do more stuff like this because
Yeah.
that was amazing. It was so New Hampshire, we love you. Like
Yep.
New Hampshire, you captured our hearts.
Yep.
And
Well, and I wanna, it was interesting because Ray O'Donnell was the one that put together she's the one that the founder of the Veteran Resource Alliance in New
yeah,
Hampshire. She's the one that put Vet Fest together, and she worked really, really hard.
yes.
Um, Unfortunately, the only picture we got with her is I'm wearing a suit, and she had already changed out of her dress, and so it's a great picture. I like
Yeah.
it. Um, but she's like, "Well, if you don't mind me looking frumpy," and I was like, "You don't look frumpy. You look comfortable, and I look like a clown in my suit." So anyway, we got a picture together, but she came to me after I spoke, and she pulled me aside and she was like, I have to tell you something. She's like, I've been wanting to tell you this for a long time. And she said, I found your podcast, the first episode, the very first episode. Mind you, this first episode was recorded in my closet with a lapel microphone, bought off Amazon. And I was using the Audacity editing software. It was all, free, and, it was just janky.
Yeah.
And I was just saying what God was telling me to say. And there's no fancy audio, no fancy anything, just me talking. And she said, I found that, and I was in a very dark place. And that podcast episode saved me. And she said, in that moment, I told myself, one day I'm going to meet him and I'm going to shake his hand and tell him that podcast episode saved me. And, again, I started crying and she was crying and we hugged. And, she had to drop that on me right at the end of everything. And I
Right.
was like,
Like,
thanks.
Thanks for that.
But you don't know the impact you're having, or you can have, if you don't eh, just say yes when you feel led to do something,
Yeah.
because you may never know the impact. I've been blessed to be able to see the impact and have people tell me.
Yeah.
And I think God knows that I need that, because I don't know, I'm wishy-washy, I guess, and I get frustrated easily, and I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not helping anyone. And God's like, will you shut up? Here, talk to this person. And they're like, yeah, you're awesome. I'm like, oh, thanks. But I hate myself. And they're like, yeah, but you're cool. And like, I love your stuff, and your stuff saved my life. I'm like, how? I'm dumb. And God's like, oh my gosh.
I know, and, like, the amount of times that he, like, well, and then, like, people who are like, "I can't believe I get to meet you," and he's just like, "I'm just a normal person. I'm just a person," like, you know,
It's hilarious
just
when they get
he's
giddy.
he's very humble about it, like, truthfully, and, he's like, "I'm just an average person, just, every day, like, I'm not anything special," and, but I asked him, I was like, "So how does it feel to be a celebrity?" And you were like, "I don't know. I don't know how I feel about
It's
this."
like people are, they just walk up and say hello, and it's like,
And they're like, "Hey, I know you," and you're like, "You do?"
hi. Now I'm walking around Walmart and I'm like, I'm gonna yell at somebody and they're gonna be like, I'm not following you anymore. I'm gonna be like,
I know.
right.
You're gonna have, like, a bad day, and you're gonna, like, choose someone out for something little, and they're they're gonna, like, leave
They're gonna post a
hate
video and
comments.
they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, they're just gonna
This is the Veritable
stalk me and be
Veteran.
like, I saw you at Walmart. You were a jerk. Like, yeah, I probably was. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
and I was probably having a very human moment
Yep.
and human emotions.
But no, it's really neat, and the relationships that we've built, with the people from up there, and it's encouraging, and I want to encourage anybody listening that if you have the opportunity to go to an event like that or be a part of a group that of veterans or even non-veteran, whatever it is, don't be afraid to go out and make friends and make new
Yeah,
relationships,
yeah,
because that's where community is built, and that's where growth happens, is in a space where you make friends.
yeah.
And if you're just honest with them and say, hey, you know, I'm struggling with this or that. Can we talk about it? And I'm trying to, it's like, you don't want to just walk into a room and just vomit of the mouth all over everybody and be like, I'm struggling with this, and this, and this. And they're like, oh, we don't want to hang out with that guy. Like
Yeah.
he's just always talking about his problems.
Yeah,
But it starts with developing
yeah,
relationships and developing friendships. And then eventually you're going to find somebody who's like, hey, are you okay? And you're like, no, I'm not.
actually,
I'm
yeah,
I'm feeling like dirt today
yeah,
and I'm hurting. And then, you know, eventually that person, you'll find the right person who's like, well, tell me about it. What's going on? And then you can actually have a legit conversation. But you won't find that until you start developing relationships. I had a guy ask me, how do I make friends? And I was like, well, for a minute I had to stop and I'm like, I don't know how do you make friends? That's a weird question. It's like an odd,
yeah,
you know, just how do you answer that?
yeah.
And I was like, the Bible says one has to show themselves to be friendly, right? So I was like, be friendly. I mean, right? It sounds simple. It's not
Yeah.
easy necessarily. It's simple though. It's like, be friendly.
And it's interesting because it says, "Show yourself to be friendly."
Yeah.
So it's like, you might not be feeling it,
Yeah.
but, what is your face saying?
Right.
You know? And because, and it's not like fake it till you make it, but sometimes, it's like, they actually say it is proven that if you smile,
Mhm.
even if you force yourself to smile,
You'll feel better.
you will feel better,
Yep.
and it actually does something to your brain.
Yep.
Like, it literally
It tricks your brain.
it tricks your brain.
And it tricks your brain into being like, oh, we're happy.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, I guess we're happy now.
Well, if you think like, have you ever tried to like done the whole like fake laughing, and you fake laugh and you find yourself actually laughing, like because it's just it triggers
Yeah.
that, and so it's like if you show yourself to be friendly,
Yep.
you know,
You're gonna make friends.
yep,
Well, we have obligations this evening, so we
yeah.
got to cut this a little bit, not short, but we're gonna
Our
end it
toddler,
here.
if you hear giggling,
Yeah.
our toddler is trying to enter the room.
Yeah, he's breaking in. So, but we just wanted to kind of give you guys a recap on that, and
Yeah,
just again say thank you to the Veteran Resource Alliance of New Hampshire for having us up there,
yeah,
and hopefully we can do it again and have something similar in this area and everywhere around the country where we can just get everybody together and get everybody on the same page.
yeah.
So, but
And real quick, we have
yep,
merch. Um, and it's not just this on the t-shirts. There's like sayings on the back. So
yep.
you can shop.
Yep. Go to theVeritableVeteran.com, go to the shop. 10% of every order goes to, we have different quarterly nonprofits. The first quarter is going to be our partner, Guardian Angels Medical Service Dogs.
Yeah.
So we're going to be donating 10% of every purchase to them to help fund the training, housing, feeding, and veterinary care of all their dogs that they're training for veterans with PTSD.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that's
I think that's it.
that's it. But we'll see you guys next week. Love you guys. Hey guys, quick reminder, if you enjoyed the episode today, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, go to whatever platform you listen to these podcasts on and leave a review. That's the best way to help us out. It gets a lot more traffic to us. So again, if you liked it, like, subscribe, and leave a review. All right, love you guys.